Hello!
How's it going, YouTube?
Welcome to number 12, live chat with Patreon.
The mic's too close, I can't drink my coffee, but so yeah, I read your comment, so I know it's actually getting read. Sketches, Tech, and Bruno. Yeah. So a couple things off the bat. I think this is going to be hopefully our last live chat from this dingy little office.
Nothing dingy.
No, it's not. It's a nice office, but it's just not a shop. So I think now that the Audi isn't sucking every penny out of our DEBOSS account, we're going to try and get some better internet at home. And then we are going to start trying to air from the shop there. So we got I have actually a whole living room and kitchen set up on top of the shop there. We can do a little bit from there, and then maybe even walk around the shop, do some more of that stuff. Maybe I can, if I have to, I can work while we do the live chat. So hopefully this will be the last one from here. Are you going to bring the mic to the shop to get it all dirty?
This whole setup's not going to work, but I'll do it all. It'll have to be from my phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I think the last one worked out for audio. Just if we have a better...
It was a little bit choppy video-wise, right?
Yeah.
That's annoying.
So we'll sort that out between this month and next time we do this.
Indiana, nice. Montreal. Do you guys... Nice. So...
Oh,
yeah.
we know that. Yeah. So let me explain the whole Patreon thing of why this is. So it started out, and it still is. It's kind of priority comments for our Patreon supporters. Anyone who supports us for $5 a month gets to get notified about these ahead of time, a little more than everybody else, as well as get to leave questions if they have questions before we go live, and we'll handle all of those questions right off the bat. So you don't have to be live or watching us live while we're doing this if you're a Patreon supporter, and you can easily find your question being answered, because after every live chat I put like a comment in the video description that has all the time codes for every single question. So if you look there, you can find every question that was asked and every answer just by clicking on it.
So we really like doing the live chat from here because Aaron's got much better computers than I have at home, or he has computers. And we love going over the Drive Tribe stuff, and we kind of taken pride in being able to showcase other people's projects. And it's good motivation to keep going with your project when you see what other people are doing. Like Greg's van, I think every time we have a chat, the van comes up, we get to see the progress on it. You guys see the progress that's going on in the shop constantly, but we're going to miss that if we go to my shop. So what we were thinking actually is to come up with like a coffee table book maybe, or like a bathroom book that...
at the end of every year, so in December, we'll put it to print, and it'll basically feature anybody on Drive Tribe, anybody that posts their project up on Drive Tribe with a finished build, we'll include it in the book. So running and driving, send us video proof. You know.
So it's kind of finished, and by finished, it's okay to have like the radio Moretted in,
yeah.
But it has to be running and driving and a plate on the road, because the project is actually never really done. I can't say that, but it does have to be finished to a degree that you're proud of, and that you would take it to a car show and just kind of avoid people looking at the last 8% that's not done yet. So
the other thing that video proof does is verify that it's your build. It's not just you ripping off someone else's.
Right. That would suck too. So
we don't want any copyrighted photos. Or
no. So yeah. Anyway. So yeah, I guess anything else? Is there anything else?
Not really. But we're drinking coffee. People are asking.
Yeah, it is just coffee. an interesting thing that happened on my way here. If my wife is watching, you lost your driver's mirror. We got some snowy weather last night, and some guy came around the corner way too fast and knocked my mirror off with his mirror. So I need a driver's mirror for an '09 Saturn Aura. So if Andrew's watching, go check the yard, see if my parts car still has that mirror. But anyway, that's why we're a little late. But
just to clarify what this coffee table book is, so it's a coffee table book. A coffee table book. Sorry, that's my baby crying. If you can hear it.
She doesn't like my voice.
It's a coffee table book of finished project cars from you guys. If you guys go to our Drive Tribe, so DEBOSSgarage.com/Drive Tribe, you can find our Drive Tribe page. I'm just going to put a link to it. And really, we're just going to pick, like, I'd say, our favorite 100 vehicles in December.
Yeah, and
make a whole book out of it.
So we can have like a live vote, but I think it'll just come down to a good video of Hoogie, Stefan, me, and Aaron going over the project, saying this is good, this is terrible, that's not finished, or whatever, and then we'd like to just sell those to pay for the print at the end of it. So yeah. Did you bring a knife? Do you have a knife? You got scissors. Before we go too far, I want to show, I got this in the mail, and that was from one of our viewers. I've been talking to him. He's been talking to me for like 6-8 months. He goes, I want to build you guys an intake cover for the Cummins, because this is what he's doing. Do you have his info? Can you pull up his info? So this is custom made for the 4BT. I think it is, and it's not from somebody else. And I will be sending him the valve covers from the Mercedes, actually, so he can. It comes with a bolt. Look at that. You see that? He even gives me a bolt for something. That is super cool. This, if you can see that, is that way.
You have his Instagram.
Yeah, so he's working on his webpage right now, but this is actually the plate for the 4BT, and it's got the Cummins laser etched in it. It's a nice satin black, and that is beautiful, and the bolt even comes for the front here. So we'll put his Instagram on there. If you guys want one of these covers for 4BT.
Instagram. 4BT T4R.
Right.
On Instagram.
Right. Then, yeah, hit him up. That is beautiful. Very nice work. Way nicer than my brazed cut up one from the 6BT. I'm going to throw that on and make a video on that. That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
No, it didn't work.
So.
Okay. Weird. How did that work?
so.
Oh. Here, maybe this link will work. Sorry, I just took his name. That should work. No. That's what it is.
Anyway.
Just search on Instagram for 4BT T4R.
The Gotcha Man. You got a mirror? Is that mirror? It's like a burgundy color. It's got to match, otherwise Mom is not happy. I think that the car that I had, the parts car, was black, but I can't remember if the mirror was smashed on it or not. So if not, we'll just throw a black mirror on. I really don't care about the car, but that kind of sucked. So anyway, hello to everybody. We got people from all over the place now. That's pretty cool. Okay. Minnesota, Buffalo, Indiana. It's pretty cool.
Oh, the Drive Tribe link didn't work.
Severn Sunset.
Why do people have issue with this?
How's it going, Billy and Sage? Nice to see you guys on the channel. That's pretty cool. How's the weather up in Severn Bridge?
There.
We will be racing the Audi at Cayuga this summer, absolutely. So we have a few things planned for it. We were driving back, discussing what we were actually thinking about.
I looked into that ice racing thing.
Yeah, and I think
like,
it totals your car, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty much derby cars in that.
Yeah. So we were pretty excited because Michigan puts on ice drifting.
And Sweden does too, specifically for Audi.
And we checked our budget, and it's not in it to fly the car down to Sweden and destroy it there. So we were thinking about Michigan, but that's not going to happen either. So too bad we completely totaled the parts car, because we could have probably got it running and taken it down to go ice racing. But that's not going to happen. The car is going to go to Motorama. We'll book a spot there, and we'll probably bring the when is Motorama? March?
Yes.
It's March, right? So
we're going to have at the bossgarage.com/events eventually.
Yeah.
I'll have sort of everything we're planning on doing. So just keep an eye on that as far as where we're going to be. Motorama is the big one. It's Motorama Toronto. It's not.
But it's held at the International Center in Mississauga, but it's actually the Toronto thing. It's just so it's nice and close to us, actually.
Yeah, there's one in Detroit, I think. So
okay.
I just want to differentiate.
Right. And after that, we'll be taking it to Toronto Motorsports Park. We'll be doing a lot of tuning and that from to get the car sorted out. I had a couple of very interesting conversations with some guys today. We're not going to talk about that just yet, but we have. This is definitely just the start of the car. So there's a few things that we got to get figured out. One, we blew out the back of the water pump and the frost plug, so that can't be a coincidence. Now, we didn't buy the cheapest water pump, or we didn't buy the most expensive water pump. We did look for a more inexpensive water pump, and one of the comments was that he was pissed off because the back of the water pump came off. So I'm like, well, that could have been a fluke. We don't have much cash. This is what we're going to go with. We fixed that. When the water pump popped off, we actually put some shims in behind it, and that worked good. It had a tiny drip leak when we pressurized the system, but that's completely doable. It would burn off or evaporate on hitting the engine as soon as it get out. But then we lost the frost plug. So obviously the cooling system is getting, it's too much work for it to send all that coolant to the back and then bring it back again. So we're going to try and switch, see if we can find an electric pump at the front, and then put the same gallon per minute electric pump at the back to pump all the coolant back up to the front again. So
Jacob Fox wants to know on Patreon, how fast did you get the Audi up to at the track? And were there any high-speed problems? No,
and I was actually very happy with how that all set up. So we were able to get some scales, and we were able to balance the car. So the way we set it up originally is basically I just took the spring pressures or the coilovers, and I counted the amount of threads left, and I put them all in the same spot. But we were off 500 pounds between the front left and right, and we were actually. I forget how it was, because again, we were rushing. We're not rushing, but we weren't taking the time to set up all the cameras and make big videos on it, just because we were running out of time. So we were able to balance the car to within 30 pounds left to right on the front, and within 40 or 40 pounds in the back. And then we were able to get that 58-42 weight split. And then as soon as that was done and we had the rest of the car put together, it went to the alignment shop and they set it up for a track. So they spent 6 hours doing the alignment on that car. We had the drive shaft made and balanced, and we did make that front left axle, but we welded it close to it was a shorter axle. So I was worried that there'd be vibrations and that there would be shaking and noises, and absolutely it handled and drove amazing at the top speeds. Now at Daytona, we had it in 6-speed on the top of the track, and at that time I had my torque setting wrong, and I only had the speedometer go up to 160 kilometers an hour, which is only 100 miles an hour, but we had it pegged. We had it way past that, so I'm sure we had it close to 200 kilometers an hour. And same at Sebring. I was in 6th gear going down the back stretch, and I'm not paying huge attention to the other than the coolant, I was just focusing mainly on the coolant and the oil pressure, making sure that they were good. I wasn't paying too much attention to the speed and the RPMs in that, but we had it in 6th gear too, so I'm sure we had it fast. So, and I think that's what actually took out the water pump and the frost plug, is just really high revs, forcing all that fluid in, that far, and we probably have twice as much coolant in there than what was originally meant for that engine. So with an electric water pump, I think we can solve that issue, and then we still have a phenomenal car. So I was really happy with how it handled in the wet and in the dry. Steve and I both spun it out at Daytona, but watching the in-car views of some other cars and putting them side by side, like, we had them smoked. It was just unfortunate that happened. So our way to fix that is to do an electric water pump.
So is there issues with the electric water pump?
Well, they don't change RPM, so I can't add an electric water pump. And it's not like, I know you guys are saying that you think that a head gasket blew or something, but a head gasket didn't blow. I'm positive that we don't have a head gasket issue. It's just that take a pipe and then try to blow water through it with it full. Now double that and blow through it. It's just that much harder to get that fluid flowing. So I'll check. Like, we pressurized the cooling system too and let it sit, and it held its pressure. It was fine. There's no milkiness in the oil. The oil looks fine. So I don't see any issues with the water, with the head gasket. The block was decked, the heads were decked, and all real good internals put on there. So yeah, we will absolutely be at Toronto Motorsports Park. We're also gonna figure out better boost control, which was our other issue that I'm almost kind of glad it didn't work out 100% that way, because it would have been a scary car. The boost came in way too late, but it's like you're driving and then, like, it's like you're jogging and then somebody runs up behind you and just shoves you once the boost kicks in. It was really, really cool. You experienced it, and I know Andy and that, they're like, oh, this car is fast, and then all of a sudden the boost kicks in and they're like, oh shit. So we're gonna get some better boost control, so we're talking to a company that might be able to help us out with that. And then I think we had a little bit of vapor lock at the very end, where the exhaust is just too close to the tank. We need to insulate that better. But we'll take you guys along for the whole ride and how we fix that and how we tune that.
Out. We got to hang out with Boosted Boys and Cletus.
Yep.
So we got some videos coming out with them a little bit this week, and on the weekend it should be the full video, or as far as I get with editing.
Yeah, and then it just stops.
Of our whole trip.
You just stop. Yeah. So, and yeah, we drove all the way from Canada in my little project truck, the Cummins Swap Silverado, and it did very well. We ran out of gearing though. My biggest issues was, and slow and steady was the way to go, honestly. We really only did like 110 kilometers an hour, which is like 75.
Scary.
So what would happen is trucks would fly past, and first the draft from the truck would push the truck, where all of a sudden, like, the truck's like it's going downhill instantly, and you're like, what's wrong with the truck? And then being a 22-foot trailer with my cap on the truck, the draft would suck you towards the truck, so that it would push you, and you're like, what is that? And then woof. So it was entertaining for Steve, who's following us, because he's like, every single truck, it's like you swerved into the truck every time. It's like, It's not me, it's the draft, and you're just kind of zoned out driving. It took us 25 hours of driving with like a 2-hour nap in a parking lot somewhere. So that's with stopping every 3-4 hours for food, and every second time we'd stop for fuel. So it did very well. The gauges quit, but I think that's just the cluster. And I think now that I'm home, I will throw a different rear end in. I have it right now. It's 373 rear end. I think I'm going down to a 321, which would give us a much better cruising speed. Probably not with the trailer, because it'll be working, but then we're also going to do a lot of mods to the truck. Right now that truck is stock, So that's a hundred.
Stock Cummins.
So stock Cummins, no fuel plate,
So
no
right.
governors, no nothing done to the engine. So we're going to be beefing up the engine. I'll probably take the fuel pump off, and I'm planning to have that rebuilt. And then, I think we'll stick with stock injectors for now. We'll put a plate in it. We'll show you how to put the governor springs in there, get a little bit more RPM out of it, and then that will be a good match for the 321 rear end. So, but yeah. So, good night, Jeep collector. Your wife wants you to get half of those Jeeps out the driveway, so hurry up. So, I was confident. I was confident in the Quattro, and I wasn't. I was disappointed that it wasn't something that I touched that actually broke. I expected something else to break that we touched, or something forgotten, but unfortunately it was just a brand new water pump that fell apart, and the frost plugs that came out. Now my machinist didn't pull the frost plugs and Loctite new ones in because the heads I gave him were next to new. So he goes, they look brand new, and honestly there was 0 kilometers on that engine, even though he did all the valves and still machined the surface of it. He didn't pull the heads yet, but I was confident enough that the first time I drove it in second gear was actually in Florida. What happened was the master cylinder on the clutch was acting up, so we found that out. I didn't get it moving under its own power until Monday, Tuesday. So we ordered the part and had it delivered to the hotel where we were staying at, and installed that in the parking lot as we were getting the tires put on. So it was funny, when we got to Friday afternoon, we ended up at the tire shop to get the tires put on, and Super Speeder was there.
Super Speeders.
Tommy, hey Rob, Tommy was there, and his whole film crew, and I forget who else was there. But I had about 3 pumps on the clutch before I got air in the system, and it wouldn't move anymore, and I'd have to grind the gears. So I fired up the car, and of course it echoes like crazy in the trailer. So everybody looks over like, "Oh, here's the Audi. Let's take a look." And I'm like, "Please don't grind, please don't grind." I got it in the reverse, parked it where I thought it was supposed to be, and the guy's like, "No, you need it in the shop there." I'm like, "Damn it!" I'm like, "Please go into gear." So we stuck it into gear, drove it, it made it in gear, didn't stall, went to where we were going, and then as soon as Rob and everybody else left, we got out the tools. We were honestly wrenching on the car while the tires were being installed. We're bleeding the clutch and using their airline, and so it was unfortunate. If we had that month, and another YouTube paycheck, we honestly would have dominated. I have no doubt about that. So I can't wait until the next one, because it is the car, and I can't believe how well the car actually handled. So yeah.
Did we stud the engine? Did we stud it?
I don't think so, and that's because of Matt Happel. So Matt is a super guy. So if you go back to the will the 4 turbos LS boost, 4 turbos boost and LS, it was great talking to him, because he's like, okay, everybody says that this is what you have to do, and he says, well, then prove it. So he actually took good head studs, Chinese head studs, brand new bolts, and used head bolts, and sent them out to a company that tested the strength of the threads and put them in a testing that bolt stretcher, I don't know, and it came back that the strongest bolts were actually the used head bolts. So we did go with new head bolts because that's what my machinist recommended. But for the 18 pounds of boost and the peak 700 horsepower, we're fine with that. Once you start cranking more than that, I'm sure that studs would be better. But even still, we're just going by Matt's little thing, and he said the used head bolts were stronger than anything else, so that's what I keep using. He used to do studs, but now he's just used. So yeah. So Killfront, yeah, go on, show us your ride on Drive Tribe. Join up, and we'll let everybody see it, not just us. So
torsion bars on the trailer, is that something?
Oh, that could be, yeah. Again, it's not my trailer. It was B&R Recycling's trailer. So he paid for all the brakes and that. We put brand new brakes and tires on it, got all the lights working, and we had to pull off the vent for the roof actually because we kind of got stuck in a parking lot underneath an overpass, so you can see that. So I got to put that back on again. Yeah. So yeah, and and Rob's right. Project Car Challenge is always 50% nervous, 50% excited. That's 100% right. When we did the half mile, the first time I went in, I'm like, I've never driven this car before. I'm not gonna do 150 miles an hour in it, and I had all the switches on. I'm just cruising. I'm like, this is awesome. This is the first time I drove it, right? And I'm like swerving because I'm like, oh, the steering feels good. Like there's no waggle. You know, the brakes are feeling good. I actually braked way before it's even said brake, and I'm like, I'm just checking out the car. So we went back, and I'm like, I'm so pumped. I did notice I was a little bit laggy. And then we had a little leak underneath the intake, so I'm like, okay, we'll pull the intake and take a look, make sure what's going on there. And then when I was about to pull the intake, I realized that we were running on 5 cylinders. So I'm like, oh, that's amazing. So I put the ejectors back on. I'm like, screw the leak. So I drove it in the parking lot, and I'm like, oh, the car is even like it's 10 times better now. I'm like, gotta do another run. So we go out to do the half mile again, and then what happened was we had 2 cameras in the car, and Stefan goes to I think there was a wreck, so we had to wait for the wreck, right. And then one of the cameras, the battery died, and one of the cameras, the card was full, so my battery was dead. So I pulled my helmet off, and I'm like, well, my battery's dead, shit. And then Aaron's like on the phone with Stefan, and Stefan's like, how do I turn the camera on? And at this point they're yelling at me to go up to the line. And then so we're all mixed up. Yeah, I'm pissing everybody off. Yeah, so I'm like yelling at Stefan. Like I pull my card out, which is those stupid little SD tiny little cards, which get stuck under my fingernail. Yeah, so I give Stefan the card. I'm like, give me the battery. I put the battery in my helmet, or I gave him the card or something. We switched cards, put the thing on, and then in that panic, I forgot to turn the scavenge pump on. It's like, shit. So we like blow smoke. Okay, what happened? Figure that out, and then we go to do one more run, but it was after 5 o'clock, and again it's like, oh, panic, no, they're gonna let me go, and one guy's pissed off, and he's yelling at his buddy because he wasn't supposed to allow anybody else to go, and it would have been the perfect story where it's like they closed it, we squeaked in, we were the last one down the track, and the dumbass forgets to flick the switch again. So, and it was one of those things in bed at night, like a week before. I'm like, okay, I need to wire those 2 switches up. One, both to a relay. One would turn the ground on, the other one would turn the positive on, and that would give the ignition power to be able to turn the car on. And I'm like, but when it's time to wire it, it's like, wires on, like jet, 2 positive in and positive out, and away you go. It's one of those things. If I will wire it that way, but it's a month
Rob's
away.
Wondering, next time, are you gonna run? Try doing it naturally aspirated.
So you say that the turbos was our downfall, but the turbos didn't fail us, other than they leaked in the back seat. They did have a little bit of leak out of the drain, but we would have still had the water pump blow apart, and we still would have had the frost plug pull out, because we would have still been pumping the coolant to the back. Now I'm going from October, and I knew right away, even before, we ran a little 240 at the track in stock, and we beat the tar out of that car. That was 10 years ago, and I wouldn't be able to touch the transmission. It was so hot. And I'm like, that was 120 horsepower. Now take 600, 700, 800 horsepower. Horsepower is heat. Heat is energy. Energy is heat. Heat is horsepower. So you create more horsepower, you create more heat. You got to get rid of it. So my intent was always to have the radiator in the back. And the reason I didn't think we'd have that big of an issue is, like, I have a 34-foot motorhome in my yard, and the water pump on that Cummins is no different than the water pump on a little pickup that pumps the coolant to the heater core. The water pump from that Cummins pumps all the water to the front of that bus to 6 different heater cores throughout the whole bus, and it takes like 30 liters of coolant. It takes like 10 gallons of coolant in that whole system and it's never had an issue. So I'm like, because of that, I'm not going to be too worried about destroying the water pump or having too much pressure. But obviously at that high RPMs, we're still having that issue. So no, we'll definitely not go to NA, because the whole point, I said it from the start, is we're not going to win if we show up with an LS swapped Audi. Well, it's just another LS swap. We had to show up with something cool, and it takes, if people are interested in the car, it's like, well, we swapped an LS into an Audi. Well, good for you. We don't care. It's 30 years old and we have no parts for you, and you're whatever, right? But if you say, look, we've got 4 Audis or 4 turbos in an Audi Quattro, keeping the Quattro all-wheel drive, they're like, okay, that sounds cool. We're interested in that. And we figured that we'd be able to get some exposure on the other channels just by showing up with something cool, with a very small, slim chance of winning, especially since we never drove the car in the first place. So anyway, how does the fluid not run out of your remote master cylinder? Because it's still a sealed unit. It's direct lines going to that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, Matt Dragonhead knows who Matt Happel is about. So I don't know if I'd go diesel over the gas. I still it's just too much weight. It's like you got to get all that momentum moving, and you don't have the high RPM, so I think roll a bunch of coal going around, but I don't think that's much fun as like being able to rev it up to 6,500 RPM and whatever else. So do I want to can you send me a picture of that steering wheel? I'm leery about a wood steering wheel. We're actually talking to a company who's got a really neat fuel management system and boost management system with like extra buttons and stuff, and I'm already thinking about like buttons on the steering wheel, and so I right now
we kind of have to see what happens with that.
Right. But then it doesn't really work with a wood steering wheel. So the car was never really built for what would be a good EFI for a twin turbo 350 Chevy. I would go with something that Holly puts out, like a Dominator or something like that. Can't really get much better than that. The standing mile next. The car was never really built for going in a straight line. I think a straight line is boring. I want to go around corners, squeal some tires, and do some 360s and spin out. And
that's why this project car challenge was pretty interesting for us, because it was a lot more than just the straight line. It offered quite a lot as far as even just experience. Like
the
Daytona.
The second day I've ever driven that car was on the banks of Daytona in the rain. Now, when that water pump came apart, so it was raining when we first pulled into Daytona. Then it stopped raining. So as we were waiting for the track to get hot, it stopped raining, or it started raining. So we all went into the pit area there, and we were working on the pits. And then it stopped raining, and we pulled out to wait our turn to get on the track. Then as that started, it started raining. So we're like, well, it's not my first day driving without wipers or a heater on the windshield. So we start driving, and then the back of the water pump blew off. So instantly there was like fog on the windshield, and you can see the window on the video. You couldn't see anything. Like, it was like somebody threw a white blanket on the windshield, and we're driving on the in track at the Daytona Speedway. So like, well, obviously can't go fast, and this was just warm-up lap. So we both undid our seatbelts, and we're both driving with our head out the window. He's like, right, left, brake, left, and I can kind of see. So we're driving like in the bank there. Never drove the car. Like, yesterday was the first day I drove the car. Drove it up on the bank, drove it back down again, trying to get a feel for it. I'm like, it's not so bad, right? So then we book it back at, like, we finished the lap, book it right back into the pits. We like took the water pump off, jammed a shim in behind it, and then while they were doing that, we brought the wipers. So we threw a wiper on, which did not have a good rubber at all. So we're going to different trucks. We grabbed a blade that actually worked, and then I hot wired the wiper on. So we're going back out with a wiper, and then we had it up in the 6th gear on the bank. So if that doesn't take some big balls, then I don't know. But that was a lot of fun to say that the second day in the rain, in the wet, we had the car up on the banks of Daytona. Yeah. So that was probably one of the highlights there. So.
Time to put a Cummins pump on your Audi.
Yeah. Well, that pump is good enough. So we'll see with the electric though. If the electric can do it, then we'll. I just need to have 2 gallons per minute pumps that match. One at the front, one at the back, and then stay steady. I can't have mechanical pumps speeding up and slowing down, and then electrical pump that only stays 1 gallon per minute. So we'll have to do like an inflow one. So might have to take one of the pumps for my in-floor heating type of thing and just kind of shove that in there. I'm sure that.
Of course, I'm not going to buy anything at this point.
We're so broke. My wife is like, the in-floor heating works. I'm like, yeah, but the Audi's amazing. So, 4BT Quattro, yeah. The Quattro makes lots of noise and it's got lots of torque, but yeah. And I like that comment. You made it back with all 10 fingers and 10 toes and 4 turbos, so it was a success. And I said that from the start. Like the first video we ever made was, look, it's brakes, and I really want to push that home that we put a lot of effort into those brakes, getting the 14-inch Brembos to fit the Audi. We called Brembo. They wanted like almost 10 grand US for a kit that fit the Audi. That was like our entire budget for the car. So we're like, well, that's not going to happen. That would have been like 12, 13 grand Canadian. But I said in the first video, I don't want to, like, you guys want to see the car move and go fast, but brakes is 100% important to get you back home again. Yeah. So the Hydro Boost system worked very, very well with the 4 Brembos. It was a good match. And again, we didn't really get a full chance to check it out. The manual proportioning valve that we put in seemed to be kind of in a sweet spot, right where it handled good enough. We never really even experimented with that. But even Justin Bell said, you know what, the brakes and the handling is fantastic on the car. I can't believe that you guys got the car to do that. He goes, you guys just need to sort out the rest. And I remember our shop teacher, that was one of the first things they taught, is like, everybody's talking about horsepower. How fast can you get to where you need to be? He's like, well, it's a lot more important if it takes you 10 seconds to, if it takes you 500 horsepower to get, if it takes 10 seconds with a 500 horsepower car to get up to 80, if you want to stop in 2 seconds, you need what? 4,000 horsepower to stop it, and that's important. I got a family. At the end of the day, I drove a car that was never tested, but the brakes worked phenomenal, and that's super important. That, you know what, it stopped and no issues, no leaks, brand new lines, and made it back home again. So to me, thanks for that and understanding that it is a success. Yeah. So
best first diesel pickup for your first truck.
First diesel pickup, a 94 to 98 and a half Dodge Ram. There you go. 5-speed manual NV 4500. It'll last you for the next 10 years if you can find one that's not rotten. And
anywhere you live.
Yeah, go find one from down south and go get that. So yeah. Yeah, if I'm ever in Vaughan, I don't make it to Vaughan that often. I don't try to leave home more than I have to. So what do I think of Leroy in person? I don't know if you're talking about Cletus or Leroy, but looking over the car is an excellent build. Everything's done really, really well. He's proud of it, and you could tell, and I appreciate that Cletus does a lot of the work himself. And it really shows that he is proud of that build, and who can deny that it goes in a straight line perfect, that it does really well on a road course, and it's even a decent drift kart. So all those videos are out. We actually have a video going over some of the stuff that you might not know about. The way that it's put together, all the welds and that are very nicely done, and it is 100%. It is a really great build, and just as nice as the Boosted Boys van, the way that they
Yeah.
built that, it looks, you could pop the hood and you could tell, you could take it to a car show and they're like, oh, like that looks great. Because like, why did you bring a van here? It looks like a van. But when you look at it, it's like, oh, like this is, none of this is stock and all of it looks professionally done. Like he's awesome fabricator, and the fact that they're like, it's not reliable in any mean that it's not going to last, I'm sure, but like he lost third and fourth gear, but and I'm sure that the engine can't hold 700 horsepower reliably for that long, but even still, the fact that they did it is amazing, and we got a good video coming up on that. Really cool build there too. So
Yeah, should drop tomorrow, actually.
oh, okay, all right. So yeah,
How much did your Quattro increase the insurance premium? Not a lot.
Not a lot,
Not too
yeah.
much. It's just a winter beater. That's all it is.
So you know those memes that say this is what my insurance thinks I drive and this is what I actually drive? Yeah, we've got one of those. We'll leave it at that.
It'll probably never touch the salty roads of Ontario. But
No. So yeah, I hope the hoodie works out, and I'm glad that we represented Canada. My regret is just not being able to spend enough time with the other YouTubers and actually being able to slow down and enjoy the build. Honestly, the last 6-8 weeks of before the race was just 100% Audi. I was even struggling to get away for another live chat because I'm like, I need to be doing this on the car, and I'm glad that it's over. I can go back to a normal life now, actually get some customer stuff done.
Yeah.
But I wish that I would have spent more time and enjoyed the event more than wrenching on the car all the time. But that'll change. We'll get the car figured out and we'll go to the next one. So
the Lamborghini guy. Thanks for showing my car. Yeah. I'm
yeah,
gonna take a look at it in a minute.
nice.
That's the thumbnail for anybody.
So
Yeah. We're taking a look soon.
any car, any sleeper is a wicked build, whether it's a Buick or even what's their,
It says here, it's a replica.
yeah. Nice. That was the picture on my wall as a kid.
Yeah, I think everybody had a Countach. All right, you know what? Maybe we will go over to let's go over to Drive Tribe
Okay.
while we're on this. All right. So this is coming to us from Todd in Cambridge. Guys, thanks for the mention on YouTube chat. This is the last time we were doing the live chat from here. Inspired me to join Drive Tribe. Here are some other picks. Countach replica. Tube chassis with LT1 and custom transaxle. Like yourselves, even check
Nice.
on YouTube.
Nice.
Cool. We'll check you out. Take a look at some of this.
It's funny that there's a nice Camaro in the background, but I guess I bet the Countach gets 10 times the attention that Camaro gets. And we kind of got that at the show too, standing beside the McLaren, and lots of people coming over to check out. Nice.
There's a lot of cars, like a lot of supercars at the
Yeah.
want to go fast.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
just
that's
neat.
nice, clean. Nice job. How's the van? Any updates on the van?
Yep.
Nice.
Grill installed.
Oh.
More installation. As I mock up the back, running wires for the rear TV, of course.
Oh, nice.
Of course, this is getting a TV.
Yeah. All insulated.
Yes.
Oh, that's done nice. Very good job. I love that thing. Nice. What else have we got?
Caliper piston and brake pads. Or exterior
Nice.
pictures and rock.
It's still got
82
lots left. What are you
GMC,
talking about?
C25 6.2 diesel.
Nice. New rockers. Oh, there's lots left. What are you whining? What are you complaining about? You're gonna leave the patina? That 2 tanks. Nice.
It's 05 Hemi Ram.
Mine-
Cam and heads and some other stuff.
Mine has a cam and heads too. Nice. I love it. Go back. I just saw a picture of it beating a car. Yeah, that's it. That's the shot right there. And even the angle from where you're at, the lead is even bigger than the picture shows. But yeah, I love it.
Nice.
Yeah, tore right down. Good job.
And this one here.
Yeah, so we got smucked up.
93 comments. Driver that was ongoing project recently totaled. So I think that's since the rebuild.
Yeah.
Hunting
So
for 81 to 85.
so what happened there? I see a trailer, so a little bit bad weight ratio, and jackknifed and rolled it. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
As long as you're okay, that sucks. Oh, that hurts. Oh, in the water too yet. Nice.
Off-roading or?
No, I see the trailer behind, so he probably started fishtailing.
Yeah, that's the start of the rebuild.
Well, lets you take care of all those little things. You said, oh, I wish I would have done that. So,
that's everybody.
yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
So yeah, if you guys are working on something, head over to our Drive Tribe page and show us what you're doing. And like we said earlier, we're going to be looking into putting together a coffee table book in December of anybody who's got a finished build.
So it should come back out the following September. If we do that, then what we should do is say, like, we need to have them in for August, September to have the book ready for Christmas. But
I mean, it could be December, and then we just release it like early spring, like next year.
it'll make good Christmas presents.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's just a way to motivate people to
Alright.
finish something by the end of the year.
If the LS wagon gets done by September, so
maybe the LS wagon will make it into the coffee table book.
no, actually, the goal for that is 100% to have it parked beside the Audi at the.
And we'll put the coffee table book on our coffee table.
That is still for sale. If you guys want that stupid coffee table, make an offer and take it. Because I had to, yeah. Anyway, sore story, sore subject there, but
Yeah. I got a Miata, lots of aftermarket support and cheap secondhand parts.
yeah, I think he's commenting too what would make a good race car, and absolutely Miata. So Stefan wants to build an Austin Martin. Is it Austin? Austin Healey? Austin Martin.
Okay.
Midget. No, midget. It's a midget.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's getting the parts together for that. So
What does he want to put in it?
the SRT4, the turboed Dodge.
Oh, right.
Dodge, those stupid wagon, those little
Yeah.
PT Cruiser engine, yeah. So that should be fun. He thinks he can beat the Audi, so yeah, we'll definitely be racing each other. So I just want him with like a scarf on, like with the leather helmet, with like the scarf flapping behind him, going, "I'm going really fast." So,
Hill climbing?
yeah, hill climb, I'd be up for that. But we're still a long way away from that. That's like, hill climb is like a whole, like, I don't mind road racing because like Sebring is awesome. The worst, you'll hit a wall. Like if you have a really unsorted car and lose a tire or something, you'll go head first into a wall. But for the most part, if you spin out, you hit the grass, you go sideways and you laugh a little bit and you pull out and you keep going. And I would do that with a car I just built the week before. I would not take this car on a hill climb and pretend that I'm a professional and know exactly what I'm doing and risk going over a cliff because something snapped or let go or whatever, right? And keep in mind that this is a home-built car. So hill climb maybe in the future, like but this is like years away. There's no way I'm risking that. Spinning out sideways in a field or in the infield of Daytona, absolutely. But that I'm like I said before, I may be good looking, but I'm not stupid. So.
Yeah. So comment where you guys think we should take the Audi next, as far as
there's the Newfoundland like Cannonball or something like that. We wouldn't mind doing that if we can legally drive that on the road.
Think of what the Audi actually is what we've done to it. It's kind of hard. I don't know. I have no idea what kind of events we can put it in outside of car shows.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, as for meeting all the other YouTubers, it was fantastic. They were all, don't have a bad thing to say about any YouTuber. They were all super nice. And I kind of got the feeling that everybody was really hoping that the Audi was gonna do very well, and they wouldn't have any issues with it beating them. But then at the end, they're like, yeah, we knew it. It was overcomplicated and it broke. But honestly, there's a water pump and a fast plug, and that's racing. Yeah. That's the way it goes. So, and being the underdogs and coming in, it's not like we were bragging that it was going to beat everybody and we failed miserably on its face. We basically said we're going to show up. We saw a line, we stood in it. Yeah. And this is where we kind of ended up with. And if you look at the live stream, Steve had a fantastic time driving it at Daytona, and we went to Buffalo Wild Wings afterwards. All the YouTubers were there, and Rob did a live chat. And he starts talking to Rob. Oh, we're coming for you. I'm like, no, we're not. We're not coming for you. The car. I'm like, Steve, quiet, because it's still
so
like.
People who don't know who Steve is, you'll get an introduction to him in the video. But he's back in the 74. He was the Canadian Grand Champion of what was it? E-production.
Yeah, something
racing.
Like that. Yeah. So he and he hasn't been in a race car for 40 years, but it was neat seeing him. It was his 40-year-old driving suit and helmet and gloves, and he gets in there, and it didn't take him long to find the driving lines. And he's like, I don't have, I can turn that little voice off in my head that says it's time to brake, or you know what, you're going into that corner too fast, and unless I spin out, like I feel like I can go faster. But Steve definitely, when it looks slow, you're actually going fast, and you can see that in the in-car there, that he remembered the driving lines. He's coaching me. He's telling me, you know what, this is what you got to look for. That's what you got to go for. Aim for that. Don't look here. Don't worry about that. And he was a great coach, and I'm really glad that we had him along. So, yeah. Well, if you want, wouldn't the motor create more boost with less turbos? Take a look at the whole point was we took the turbos on the dyno with Matt Happel. Watch that video and tell me whether we're wrong or not. But if you line our graph up with the McLaren 650S, we have exactly the same torque and horsepower curve. So I'm sure I can get put a big turbo on it and spool it up and get boost at $4,000. That's not the point. We had bad boost control, which is why we were coming into boost late. But we're going to take that and fix that 100%. So. Yeah, I was I was doing donuts with Cletus there. That was a lot of fun. Almost got T-boned by
Adam LZ.
So that was pretty cool. Cletus was a little bit worried there. He sees the bumper right there, and he was still a couple feet away, but not as close as what Louie and I got into today when he knocked my mirror off. But I think we did get treated a little different because of the size of our channel, and it was neat talking to Tommy, who was the smallest channel at the October challenge, and he said too, you can't expect much growth unless you win. But it was an amazing fun event, but it has to make sense from a business standpoint too. We can't just do these events for the fun of it and blow all this money on a car and fuel, and like we drove for 60 hours to get there and back. That's a week's worth of lost income that I should have been working on customer stuff. So it has to make sense financially as a business point, otherwise we'll be broke in 6 months. But a lot of contacts were made. A lot of people know who we are now, and we're talking to some bigger companies now already. And if they just watch the original or the end video of like when Justin drove the car, like, wow, it's a piece of crap car. But if you dig deeper, we're proud of. I am 100% proud of that build. I would do everything exactly the same, and we can only go up from here. But that car has massive potential. Really, really proud of everything that we accomplished there. So
the Audi has a rear spoiler, right?
What's that? So it's funny that again we didn't really know what that scoop was supposed to do or how it was going to act at the end, but it did a few main things. One, it catches a lot of attention. So if you see the car in a parking lot and you see the scoop from far away, you're like, there's something cool about that car. I'm gravitated towards that car. That car is a marketing tool for our channel and for my abilities, and 100% you're gravitated to the car because it looks cool. When we drove it to Roadkill zip tie drags, the only thing that I did to the car was put the scoop on the night before. And imagine that. I worked till 2 in the morning and left at 6 in the morning to go to zip tie drags. But we drove to a Wendy's, and they looked at it through the drive-through window. Like, we parked beside it, and I went in, and they're like, is that your car? That's awesome. What's the scoop for? Like, that's amazing. And it catches your attention. 2, it kept the car cool. The car never overheated. I did about 10 laps in it, beating on it before I gave the keys to Justin or told him which button to push to make it run, and it did not overheat. And that was one of the things that plagued everybody. Rob overheated. Dude in Blue, Dave's car overheated. They had to shut it down. The only ones that didn't overheat was the vet cart and the BMW, and those are big dollar cars. The minivan overheated, so it did not overheat. So that was 2 things that it actually did. And the way I designed it, or was hoping that it would work, would take the air and it would shove it, it would curl it around the window and then push down on that intercooler and rad and actually create downforce. So we were told that our back springs are soft because our back was scraping. So when we were in 6th gear, the splitter was actually scraping the ground, and I lost the car squatted so much even at the half-mile drag that it actually ripped the inner plastic inner wheel well out. Yeah. So it is not creating uplift. There is a pile of downforce there, whether it's the diffuser and the skid plate or whether that scoop is doing exactly what I hoped it would. It's working the way it's supposed to. So as of right now, I don't need a wing.
Yeah. But what we need to do is take it to a wind tunnel and actually figure out what's going on, but without sponsorship help or a nice big month.
Yeah, but even we still have bills to pay from this month. So
support us on Patreon if you want to see us take it to a wind tunnel.
Yeah, or we'll just wait until the wind is right. There's 2 big buildings in Dunville there that if the wind is just right, we could park the car in the alley there and light some sparklers and see what actually is going on there. So, any idea when we're starting the Duramax C10? Well, we already started. We bought the truck, and we have the engine. So once we get some cash, we'll probably buy the frame. It's sitting in a scrapyard somewhere, and I don't want to tell anybody where or what it is because I want to scoop that up. But we're going to be a while for.
Justin Bell is the voice of the Plymouth Laser.
Can you verify that? That'd be awesome. Can you send me a link there, the Gotcha Man, to actually prove that, or are you just saying that?
That's not true.
I did not touch Tommy's beard, and I did not touch any of the other YouTubers, and I deny everything that they tell you. So, no, there's no advantage of putting 50 over the pump. Everybody turns the pump up before they go to bigger injectors. So turn the pump up, then go to injectors. So. We will take the Audi to the zip tie drags. We're not taking it to the Texas Mile because Texas is too far away, but it will be at the Roadkill events and lots of other ones. But the first ones, if you guys are in the area, we'll start letting you know about Toronto Motorsports Park. So
huge 3-day autocross in Limestone, Maine.
Okay, that looks interesting. Nice.
August. Okay, right now we don't have anything planned for August.
No, we have lots of. I have lots of stuff planned for March, April, and May, and September.
September, October.
Yeah, I've already. Yeah, so.
4-wheel drive, 4 turbos. If it was 4-wheel drive steering.
That I'm sure Justin would have loved that.
Oh man,
so
that's insane.
1,400 an hour would be nice to get it done. Yeah, Connor, are you close to the Ontario? There's the University of Ontario. They have like a multi-million-dollar setup there. So it's same thing. It's like $2,000 an hour, which if you're 1,400, that's probably American. So we said road mill, roadkill, and they're going to take a look at the car whether they like it or not. We'll leave it at that. So working with Matt Happel is awesome. Super busy guy, and if you guys have kids and run a YouTube channel and have a job and have 2 houses that you're fixing up, you might understand the little bit of tension that he's under. But he was just super busy, and like he said in his videos, this is the busiest he's ever been in his life, but he still took the time out to help us out. He's been super cool, talking with us afterwards. Now I know the car ran lean, and I tried playing with it. I forgot my laptop charging cord, and nobody else had HP tuners. So we ran the car lean. It still runs. I haven't done a compression test on it to see whether we melted a piston or not, but I wasn't going to not drive it because it was running lean. But we'll be hooking up with Matt again once he slows down a little bit, I'm sure. So
screenshot.
Yeah. So the cardboard.
Look up the BBC TV show Ashes to Ashes. It's about this detective guy named
Gene Hunt.
Gene Hunt, and that's who that is. And he's famous in the UK for driving the UR Quattro. So
yeah.
So love him.
Yeah.
He's amazing. You need to watch this show.
It's like
you can find it on whatever
It's like
Google.
England's version of Knight Rider. Instead of a Trans Am, they used a Quattro. So
he just has a lot of cool catchphrases about Quattro. Like he just fits. They fit Quattro into the show. It's almost like a third
person, like the Quattro guy.
Character.
You've just been
It's
Quattro.
hilarious.
Yeah. So he was strapped in the passenger seat when we went through the border, and it scared the shit out of the border guard.
Patrol?
Yeah. So he's like, I'm just gonna poke my head inside the trailer there. I wish he would have pulled out a gun and shot him. That would have been awesome. But that was. Was that the Americans coming in? I think that was the American one.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
going into the States.
Yeah, and then the Canadian guys were even cooler. They were gearheads. So they pulled us over and they go in the trailer. They're crawling all over the car, and they're like, "This is amazing! I love this thing." Yeah,
and that's just at the LS. We're like, "Oh, go further back."
Yeah,
and he just starts like freaking out.
So the one
from inside the trailer, we just hear.
So 2 guys were gearheads. The one guy's explaining to the other gearhead what's going on, and they're like, "Oh, that's amazing!" And then the third guy had they might as well have been talking Chinese, but he's like, "Those guys are really excited about your car." We're like, "Yep." So Jensen's probably not
because the next step for the Quattro would only be
all-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive
dyno.
So we need an all-wheel drive dyno. There's one close to here, but Matt Happel has one.
Yeah. So his buddy's got it, and unfortunately there was a couple snags when we first started it. We had an oil leak on the oil pan. The brand new starter that we put on acted up, so I got to pull that off again. And things like that just delayed it that day, and we couldn't get it out. So then we ended up with freezing rain. So I was like, well, it's probably good we didn't go. But unfortunately, it is what it is. So the problem is you got to line up our time, the dyno time, and Matt's time, and that doesn't happen just like that. So, the Ontario Institute of Technology. That's
what we were looking at.
Yeah. No, it's more than 1,400 now. I think it's.
Well, if you can get us a student discount, hit us up.
Yeah. So, and we thought about that as a sponsor, going to see them, but I don't think it's one of these things where they're looking for more work. I'm sure that the tunnel is busy.
Yeah.
We will try. We'll get a hold of them eventually, but right now, the car, we got some stuff to sort out with the car before we go there. A few laps around Toronto Motorsports Park for sure before we get anywhere. So.
Yeah, we see you. If you come out to, we're kind of also waiting for Toronto Motorsports Park to post their days for track test and tune days.
Yeah,
those would be the best days for us to take the car down there. We'll be probably selling ride-alongs, possibly.
Yeah.
And if you want to see how well you can do against the Quattro, bring your car.
Yeah. So it needs to hit a dyno
before
before we do anything. Yeah. So all the Chevy 1500s had lifter knock. That's just part of owning a Chevy. As much as a exhaust leak on a Triton is, a lifter knock is on a GM engine. So. Yeah. So yeah. So the sporters' names made it to the they made it on the car. We did that after Daytona.
We got down to Florida and literally there's no time.
So
between
to put it in perspective, I was still painting the bumpers the morning we left. Thursday morning.
They were spray bombing the bumpers at the track. There's no time.
So and we apologize for that, but we took the car to the Daytona Beach, and the video will be coming out. So
the names were on the car for the third event.
Yeah,
that's when they were on the car.
And
it was really our best event. Was the third day.
Yeah, it was pouring rain on the second day, and it would have washed all the names off actually, or done damage to them anyway. So your names are on it. Freddie's got proof of that. Justin's got proof of that. And we made a list. Is there a list available to make sure that your name is actually on it?
Yeah, I posted it on the video before we left.
Okay. Okay, so check and make sure your name is on it. If your name is on that list, it's on the car.
Yeah.
So Stefan's...
There's a few more names on the car that are not on the list, but that list...
That helped out. That came and worked on the car and in the parking lot.
And realistically, if you bought a shirt, if you bought any merch, and you didn't show us proof that you bought anything, there's no way for us to know your name. Like, we don't get your credit card we don't get anything. So if you bought it and you didn't send us any details or a picture of you wearing the shirt or following the instructions essentially, then there's no way for us to put your name on the car. So if you still want to do that, it's possible. There won't be an event. But honestly, out of all the people that bought merch, and we love you guys, you helped us finish this thing, only 4 people sent in a name. So yeah, it is what it is. But
yeah, so I actually don't have any of my lap times. We can go back and check the in cameras and time the in cameras, but Rob actually has all the lap times and he'll be releasing those. But I know that we did beat David Patterson and the McLaren and the minivan at Daytona, and that's all I really care about at this point.
We beat the minivan.
We beat the minivan.
We're boys beat Leroy
at Sebring,
but we beat him.
Yeah, so. I think we beat him at Sebring too. Pretty sure we got a faster time at Sebring, just in my warm up laps. But it's a minivan. What do you expect? So
come to Texas. Well,
so
it's another drive.
So actually, here's an interesting thing. Hoogie's getting married this year, and the GTO has to be done, but he also has to pay for the wedding somehow. So the GTO might be for sale too. Not that so anyway, we're finishing the GTO. It's coming up soon. So my 9 to 5 job is back on the LS, and then the my spare time right now while we're waiting for some funds and paying some bills, we'll be right back on the GTO again. The guys at V&R, they also have quite the collection of really cool cars. So one of the operators there has a 57 Chevy pickup with a 454 in it that's been appraised at 75,000 Canadian. And what else is there? There is a Mint 81 truck, square body there, that has a 327 in it that just sounds fantastic. And there is also a 91 454 SS truck in the shop right now that actually blew the engine, but I'm going to be putting a new engine in it. You can see that in the background there. There's no hurry for that one, but we're all planning on selling those. So the market is much stronger down south, and we might even be working together to somehow bring them to an auction or truck them down all at once and selling them. So we met over, one of my buddies got to meet him, but we got to meet LaTroy Hawkins. He was a pitcher for the Blue Jays. That's way back, but he's got a GTO too. So he's LS swap GTO, which is kind of a sore spot. But we will be getting, if we go to Texas, we're gonna try and hit him up, check out his ride.
Yeah.
And then go from there. Yeah. So maybe we'll make it to Texas. We'll see. But then if we do that, it's just asking for trouble because we're not coming home empty-handed either. We'll just be coming back with 10 other cars and trucks that we want to go home and fix up again. So, so we are located close to Speed Academy, and we've been talking to them quite regularly. And again, we were trying to hook up with them, and it just didn't work. So
yeah, the Dyno Day was actually supposed to be that too.
Yeah, so we'll get together with them. We'll get them walking over the Audi, and I'm sure we'll be meeting them at Toronto Motorsports Park at some point. So. What? You got a booger on your mustache? That's funny. I don't know. That's what it says. that's awesome to just like troll live chats and say you got snot hanging out your nose and see how many times they can wipe their nose. It's kind of like a contest. That best place to pick up a 4BT? Absolutely anywhere where you can find one, because they're getting harder and harder to find. They're kind of they're going to be unicorns before too long, because...
Yeah, we almost need to start talking about other engines on our channel.
Yeah, because...
Since these are just so scarce.
I've never seen another 4BT for sale, so, yeah, we'll never know.
We'll find a better, less rare... We do want to test that new crate engine from Cummins at some point.
Yeah, so, whatever, we'll see. But we're into... Basically... We're got a shirt that says swap everything, right? We're into a little bit of everything. They all get it wrong. So yeah, they are in bread trucks, but everybody knows that they're looking for bread trucks too, so they're getting more and more expensive too. It's not that you can't find them, it's just that they're not like, where's the best place? If anybody knows what they have,
they're all getting
cheap.
flipped.
Yeah, it's not cheap. So
LS motor in Audi, is it stock cam and pistons?
No, so it's stock pistons out of a Gen 4. No. Is that Gen 4? No, the block was Gen 4. The internals were Gen 3, 24 crank sensor, but they're not they are the I-beam rods, and they are floating Mali pistons, Mali internals, upgraded high volume oil pump, which is probably why we had all the oil leaks. And turbo cam, I forget the specs, 12-18 pack springs, and port and polished heads. So got an 83 250 6.9 diesel, great truck. I love the square bodies, slow and steady. The engine will last forever because it's gutless, and you know that. And you keep it going. I love those trucks. So, 4BD1T, I don't even know what that means.
Is that a different Cummins? Newer, maybe?
Yeah.
It might be, I think.
Jeep collector, did you calm your wife down and tell her that this filthy rich guy has like 12 cars, so don't worry about the 6 in your driveway?
I think that engine, tell me if you look at the intro for our videos, that 3D truck with the engine going in it, I think it is the 4BD 1T. We've never touched it, but it's on the intro. So anyway,
yeah,
I think so. Because I couldn't find a 4BT or a 6BT. We were looking at the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll be redoing that intro eventually, but
eventually.
Yep. So.
Gen Camaro LS swap 6.0.
Nice.
Awesome. Put a picture on Drive Tribe.
So you can get the 4BTs and 6BTs from generators and water pumps, but they have different injection pumps that don't work very well for on-road applications. Those things are meant to go full throttle and stay there, and grabbing the next gear is a real pain. So those industrial engines do not make very good on-road applications. So just keep that in mind, because you got to tweak the pump, and they actually have different injectors and everything. So
you can get L92 heads. They don't have the freeze plugs.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I just Loctite them in. I 100% believe that it was just too much resistance on the moving all that fluid. So we'll try it. Like, I just spent big bucks on these heads too. So it's just that the heads were like brand new. So I'm like, I I got to use it. So, so yeah, thanks for the respect for the build. It was a project car. That was the name of the event, so that's what we brought.
I wouldn't say we were the only ones that had a real project car. Like even Super Speeders Rob's car is a real project car.
Yeah, it needs like a complete rebuild. All new brake lines.
I just mean he's been working on it
forever.
Yeah,
and he knew
he's
it was
got, full roll cage in it.
Yeah, he knew it wasn't gonna finish right from the start. He's like, but it's great because Rob's an optimist like me. He's like, oh, very happy with how it performed. Other than I lost power steering, coolant, brakes, and it didn't start and it overheated. But yeah, it did very well.
Yeah, Boosted Boys, that's a project car.
Yeah, it now needs a new transmission.
I would call Leroy a project car.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it was awesome seeing all the builds right from the start, right? So.
Yeah, we're not so fussy.
No.
We're not drawing lines in the sand like some people do.
Yours is not a project. Piss off.
Plus, it's actually, you know what? It's actually really cool about that event is that you can line up right beside a brand new 720S.
Yep.
And see what your project car can do.
Compared
to a brand new car that has nothing done to it.
Yep.
It's just amazing. You can never, I don't know, you can.
Yeah. So
that's what's cool about it.
I can say to the engineers at the McLaren plant that my Audi went faster than their 720 at the Daytona track. And who can say that? I guess that's pretty cool. And I think he was just being a wimp. He didn't want to wreck his nice car.
Of course.
It doesn't matter. A win is a win, and I beat his time. So, yeah. So, look into the OM606. It's an inline 6.3 of the Mercedes. Nice. Yeah, we'd we're always up for a cool swap. I can basically say though, I'm still getting a lot of emails like, can you do this swap? Can you do that?
Yeah, like 2 a day. It's great.
Yeah, like I'm booked all until this time next year, so I really have no time. And when I say that, I'm too busy. And then they say, well, what does 2019 look like? I'm like, well, more than likely a cooler project than what you're presenting to me is going to show up in that meantime. So I'm not going to commit to an F-250 Cummins swap or anything right now because you're going to be disappointed. I'm basically going to say right now I do not have time for any more projects. So there's like the shop's full and I've got people already that I've committed to. So that right now I don't. And I get bored easy. I don't want to make a business just swapping Cummins into Fords or into Chevys or start mass producing mounts or kits or whatever. That's not me. I don't know, unless I get 30 guys working for me and I see a big moneymaker in that. Then I won't have dirty hands anymore. I'm just going to be emails and phone calls.
Well, no, you just work on the custom.
Right? Yeah, maybe. So Yeah, I need.
That's a bigger shop. That's a bigger business.
I like my shop, and honestly, having guys in there this summer, I'm happy just being in there by myself because I run out of space real quick. So, where are we? Any love for Kubota diesels? I love Kubotas, and I've done a review on Kubotas. I compared them against a Case tractor when we did snow plowing, and even though the Kubota is more basic, it is more dependable and reliable. And my dad had one of the first 90 horse tractors on the farm that he bought. Never had an issue with it, and he's got a little 50 horse right now. I've done bush hogging with it. That one's I don't know if I did an exact review on that one, but awesome little tractors. To take the engine out and do it in a swap, probably not a good idea. I don't know how. If you want to check that out, check out Shifted Interest. They put a little Kubota engine into a Ranger, so you can tell me if that's a good idea or not. I just didn't have time to check that out. You know what? Right now, so there's coffee tables on eBay going for $3,000, and we're not looking for anywhere near that. But to make that worth my time, like I'll keep it for less than $500. But give me $500 and we'll go from there. So, diesel sounds incredible with a 5-foot straights for about 2 weeks, and then you're like, this is stupid because all I hear is a giant drone in my ears, and it's annoying, and my wife doesn't want to drive with me anymore, and my neighbors hate me. So it's fun to just take your whole muffler off, make a straight pipe behind the cab, drive around for a while, and then you're like, this is stupid. I want my mufflers back. So,
go to.
Are people giving us money? That's awesome.
And thank you to Kutanj. Well, yeah, he put $10 earlier to see us at Toronto Motorsports.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll definitely post when that's happening, when we find out what Toronto Motorsports is doing.
Yeah, thank you. If you guys are giving us money, that's incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
That's unbelievable. So yeah, and I appreciate that you guys see how much hard work went into it, and I apologize for the videos at the end. It's just honestly, I spent like.
Last video you mean?
Well, no, like the last video. I'm sorry, I built the dash, I did this, Stefan did that. It's been 20 hours since I saw a pillow. I gotta go, and that was it.
Honestly, I had 2 hours of footage to edit down to half an hour. So,
oh, okay. That's not bad.
If
you had more,
I wouldn't have been able to do that.
Oh, okay, yeah, because
it's a long video. And
at that point, it's becoming a build where it's like, okay, this is how I'm going to build the dash, and I'm gonna, but it's irrelevant to anybody who's ever like nobody's going to do that ever again. So, yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like I did that, Stefan did that, we did this. Is like not really how we did it, and that's the end of it. So right now, and being with the project and still squeezing in some customers, the shop became a giant mess. You can see that in the videos where there's like a straight path between the Audi and the door, and that's about it. We're in that point where trying to organize, put everything back, and we will have a shop tour coming up because we're going to get into some shop organization and good ways to stay organized. And I need, that's one area that I lack too, just because generally I work until I hit the wall at night, put my tools down and just jump into it both feet. But I need that half hour to put my stuff back and still build customers for that and stuff like that. So we'll have a shop tour together. There's some neat stuff I put into the shop, like I have a transport truck receiver dryer taking the moisture out of the air. I've got stuff poured into the floor for hooks for tie downs for straightening axles and stuff like that. I've got all my wiring behind the walls that ends up on the nice trim, things like that. Heated floors, all that nice stuff, and I want to share that with you guys. But right now, that was.
On projects.
Yeah, just making videos of other stuff. We'll make a video on my truck on how it did, and then a bunch of other stuff. And I did. I had to throw some injectors in a 6.7 Cummins. Didn't make a video on that because it's basically the exact same as the other 5.9 common rail, other than you gotta input the injector numbers into the computer. But yeah, once like that. So.
I saw one person asking about Patreon support for names on the car. At this point, realistically, with the Project Car Challenge being when it was, the whole goal with that whole idea was just to get as much money raised as we could before the event. The event is done, so I don't want to be scrawling names on the car once a week, or I kind of want to stop doing it. So I understand if you've already paid for a shirt or something and you didn't tell us your name, and you can now, and I'll do it. But as far as Patreon goes, that has ended. There will be more things happening with the car. Like I was saying earlier, we're planning to do ride-alongs at some point at Toronto Motorsports Park. So once that gets sorted and we get an event day together, we'll figure out sort of new ideas for getting involved.
Yep. I do want to say that meeting Tommy was a good eye-opener, that he wasn't what I expected. It was funny, he said I'm the same guy behind camera as I am in front, but I didn't get that from him. Like, he didn't swear once while we were talking to him. He like
Yeah.
super nice guy. He was understanding. Like made the point to check out the ride and interview us and put it on his channel and stuff like that's really appreciated. He was very humble in the fact that it sucked that he didn't get his car out, but yeah, really nice, cool guy.
Yeah.
I'd hang out with him anytime. So yeah, but honestly, all the guys were super cool.
Yeah.
So yep. So yeah, thanks. Who wants to work on a Ford outside? Come on. Nice to see you. Oh, Jeep collector. So you use a Ford to haul your Jeeps around? That's awesome. Did you go outside, realize that you didn't want to work on the Ford, and then came back in for more live chat? That's pretty cool. But we're about to duck out because we've been here for a while. I got to get home too.
Yeah.
So.
Very kind of short.
Are you keeping the Audi? Absolutely not. Somebody offers us 75 grand for it. It's gone. It is gone, and we will be building a diesel. We'll be taking a C10 Duramax out of the next Project Car Challenge. So, yes, we're keeping the Audi. Like what? Like this isn't roadkill.
It's an iconic car.
Right, and it's not that I want to build a channel around one car.
No.
If I would have done that, then we would have focused it around the Silverado or the Tahoe and said, oh, look at my upgrade. Now we did this. Now we did that. I get bored, and you guys know I get bored. But that's not to say that we're going to throw them away. I'm still driving both.
We're still 100% diesel. We're also still 100% interesting swaps.
Yeah, and 100% just whatever's cool. So we got to get some more videos out with Rick. His shop's almost open, so you can see that coming up soon. The Corvette looks amazing. The paint job's awesome. So yeah. So whatever comes through the door, honestly, and there's some other cool stuff coming out. So.
All right, guys, we will see you next month.
Yep.
And look out tomorrow for another video.
Yep. Thanks for all the support, guys. Thank you for everybody that helped out with the Audi. Thank you for watching the channel. Thanks to all the sponsors, especially that helped us out. I hope we did a good job representing you guys. Thanks to Michelin and the energy drink. I was too tired. I couldn't read the label on the can anymore.
Odyssey battery.
Odyssey battery.
Yeah.
Rob for putting on the event. For you guys for sticking around watching that, and whatever else. So, yeah. What happened to Aaron? Aaron's right here. So, thanks for being a part of YouTube. Yeah, thanks. And see you guys. That's it for us.